up here on the show. I finally got all my taxes turned in. I just kept putting it off. It wasn't that difficult, but I just put things off sometimes. And some of you may have gotten like that in the past. If you can even, I mean, the tax code's so bizarre. You can get professional guidance and still have something that's wrong. The IRS starts coming after you, or some people just get knucklehead about it and decide. There used to be this old poor conventional wisdom that I'm just going to file my form, but not put the check in there, and then they can come get their check later when I have the money. And then, boy, you get upside down. They'll hit you with penalties and interest and chase you down and garnish all your wages and put liens on your property and mess with your retirement funds. They'll come after you with everything they've got. And it's very intimidating. Perry Cronin over at Axiom has shown me threat letters over the years about how strong it can be and how nervous people would be, especially when you don't have the money, when you owe them money and they're coming after you this way. Perry set up Axiom to help you deal with this. He's not going to judge you and look down his nose at your bad decision making or bad advice that you got from somebody or some problem. Sometimes it's on their end. They've missed a deadline. They're coming after you for money and they're the ones that are wrong. You need a real expert to sort that out. And that's what Perry does all day long. You'll see national firms from time to time that advertise these services, and they may be good. I don't know. All I know is largely the way that works is they'll run. I mean, they can't cover the whole country, so they'll run these national ads with 800 numbers, and they're just farming out that lead when you call them to some random CPA somewhere to try to help. This is not a random CPA. This is my man, Perry Cronin, and he lives here in Birmingham. He'll sit down with you face to face, and he knows more about this than anybody I've ever met. I think that there's probably not an expert in the country that understands the tax code and the laws to protect you and the programs to help you settle for less better than Perry Cronin. Perry Cronin at Axiom Tax Resolution Group, 205tax.com, 205tax.com. Man, throat's feeling a little dry now. I think it's the pollen. I'm going to blame everything on the pollen until it's gone, and then I'll blame it on something else. I just saw this. Let me give you some random stuff, and then we'll get into some of the heavier stories. The two big heavy stories are, I guess, well, if you package them together, all the Senate shenanigans with the SAVE Act and the government shutdown, and then what that's doing to the airports, and, of course, the crash at LaGuardia, the ongoing war in Iran. We've got some big, big stuff today, but let me do some smaller things. I saw this spectacular fire going up on a video that just hit the news about an hour or so ago, and I immediately recognized the building. It's the courthouse in downtown Rome, Georgia, just right across the state line in Floyd County. Now, that courthouse, I always recognize it. I've spent a lot of time going through Rome and used to cover news stories there. It's a cool town. And Georgia's got such beautiful little small towns with a courthouse square. Alabama's got a few towns that are still like that. We got an old courthouse. Town was kind of built around that. The courthouse has always been kind of the center of town. And Rome's a little bit like that in that old part of town. It's the oldest building in Rome, and it is fully involved. The building has always reminded me of, it looks a little bit like Sanford Hall down at Auburn, right in the middle of campus. It's got that old kind of architecture from that day, clock tower, all that right up in the middle. I mean, it looks like it's going to be fully gutted. Huge fire department response. So that is a huge setback for that town. We don't know anything about what may or may not have caused the damage, but there's that. And then in a little bit, I want to get Joe's call in here real quick, but in a little bit, I want to get into this. AJ, have you seen this story? I'm going to drag AJ into this too. You know the guy that plays Reacher, the big dude?
Yeah,
the big massive dude?
I did see this video that was
Alan
out.
Ritchson.
Yeah.
Alan Ritchson is his name. And I watched all the Reacher. Val actually got me into that. She loved it, so I watched it. And it's the dumbest thing on television, but it's kind of fun dumb, right? It's just macho. He just beating everybody up, the whole thing. So this actor's he's kind of weird. I mean, his personal beliefs are weird. I don't care about all that. He's not a great actor, but he's a big dude, right?
And he used to be on American Idol.
What did he do on American Idol?
He sung. He was on American
Alan
Idol.
Ritchson is a singer?
Yeah.
Okay.
He didn't look like this back in them back
he
in the day.
he got on the steroids after that, didn't he?
I don't know. I'm not gonna say steroids, but he was much smaller.
What did he sing? She Like the Wind. Was he
I'm
like
gonna see if I can find a song that he did for
Pull
American
that up.
Idol.
And then I got to play some audio for you too. All right, so this broke I guess last night. He beat the hell out of his neighbor, and it's on camera. Like, he beat this guy down. And in Reacher, that's all he does is beat people down. He's got a movie or series or something coming out where he plays a Navy SEAL. So it gets all these tough guy roles. They're considering him for one of the Batman movies, and he's too big to be Batman. But he, he's a big muscular dude, a handsome guy, and all that. Hates Trump, by the way. He's a total leftard. But he lives in Brentwood, and all you see in the video is some guy getting pummeled by a guy who's wearing like motorcycle gear, and there's two little kids on smaller dirt bikes standing there in the street, sitting there on their bikes in the street watching. And that's all we got. We didn't see what led up to it. And apparently what happened, this was his neighbor in Brentwood, Tennessee, right up the road. And apparently he's out riding bikes through the neighborhood with his sons on these smaller bikes. And the neighbor had enough of the noise. Apparently they were speeding and kept zooming by, making all kind of noise. And that's irritating as hell. I'm going to go ahead and tell y'all. My sympathies initially were with the neighbor. And so the neighbor comes out to get him to stop, that somebody's going to get hurt. They're driving too fast. He said he didn't even know who he was. And at some point, the neighbor, it looks like the witnesses said the neighbor tried to push him off his bike. The neighbor was so pissed off, and he tried to shove him off his bike. And apparently Ritson, and I don't know who to believe in this case, he didn't immediately just start beating on the guy. He didn't take the bait. I mean, this guy is a famous guy. You always got to look out for people trying to sue you for whatever. So he didn't just jump on him then, but the guy kept after him. So he just gave him a whooping. They gave him a country boy ass whooping. And it's all on a fuzzy, shaky camera from like a second floor of a house across the street. So now we got this guy. I didn't know he was British. Nashville ain't Nashville anymore, y'all. It's a weird deal up there. So here's the guy that got his butt whooped with bruises on his head. This video was put out a little while ago. He was being interviewed.
It started on Saturday morning and I'm an experienced motorcycle rider. I've been riding bikes all my life.
Multi-bikes, new to bikes.
So, from dirt bikes to street bikes and etc. But I'd heard this incestuous revving and speeding through our neighborhood of the motorcycle. I eventually saw the guy on Saturday. I didn't know who it was. And I sort of like flippantly sort of said, "Guy, do you, like he was quite away." And I said, "Can you just slow it down, please?" And then there are numerous people in my neighborhood who caught all of this on Ring doorbells of him speeding through the neighborhood. And on Sunday, when I was cleaning my bike outside my house, he rode past once, twice, and on the second time, I walked out in front of him and I said, "You've got to stop. Someone's going to get hurt." And it escalated quite quickly from there. I did push him because he was coming towards me on his bike. He did it again for a second time. I pushed him a second time. And I think the second time he got off his bike and it kicked the crap out of me.
I would have admitted that part. I would have been like, but it is on video.
Next time it's gonna be his ass. You gotta, even though next time I'm gonna get the better of him.
I mean, did you scratch him? I mean, did you like poke him or something?
Come on, man, you got a British accent. I've been watching Peaky Blinders. I watched the movie this weekend. At least get gangster or something. Don't be getting on whining about it. You're the one that went out there and tried to pick a fight with him.
Right? Did you insult his intelligence or something? I mean, like, did you hurt his feelings? I mean, come on, man. Like, he did. Well, he did kind of whoop my butt,
He beat the crap out of me. Well, that's not how you handle it, son.
No,
you're in the South now. I mean, you gonna move to Tennessee, you better know how to. I mean, he should have at least said, he's like, "Next time, I'm gonna bring me friends, and we're gonna cut him into guts." I'm doing my Thomas Shelby from. That's all I got. If you watch it, you get it. If you don't, that was terrible.
Right. That's hilarious. All right, so this is one song that he did. Let's see if I can pull this up real quick.
This is him singing?
Yeah, this is him on American Idol. That he did. He did it's like a little like real quick clip of him singing to Paula Abdul.
Oh, look out now.
When she was on it.
Was he a cold-hearted snake? Okay, keep going.
All right, here we go.
Yep.
You are the sunshine of my life.
Oh, that's terrible. What is he like?
That's why I always stay around. You are the apple of my eye.
Oh,
forever terrible. You'll stay in this heart.
I think that's low enough. That's enough.
Did he make it on the show with him?
Obviously he did not.
Clearly.
I don't think, because every time I see he was on American Idol, I was like, no, he wasn't. Like, yes, he was.
I would rather ride motorcycles with Stevie Wonder than listen to that again.
Yeah, well, and then Paula Abdul kind of became like a...
Oh, she was fangirling on him?
Yeah, she's hugging him and she would not let go.
Yeah. No, Lord. Okay, let's go to the phones. I had to do the fun stuff this hour. I was never going to get it in there. Line 3 is Joe over here on the cell phone. What's up, Joe?
Oh man, I was just seeing if you could give me some kind of insight on these gas prices. If we're pumping our own oil and refining our own oil, how come our prices are so high if we don't need Iranian oil?
Well,
can you give me any insight on that?
Yeah, the prices are set worldwide by a big trading system called the commodities or the futures market. Okay, so that what they buy when they buy oil deliveries are deliveries 6 months out, 3 months out into the future. So to guess at the future, they take into account everything that's going on around the world with supply, world supply, and world demand. So if a war breaks out, some big facility goes offline, a hurricane takes out refineries somewhere, whatever, it disrupts supply, especially if there's still demand. And so unfortunately, we're sort of tied to that. Now, there are two oil pricing systems. One is called the West Texas Index, and it is more of the land-based stuff and stuff produced by American companies. But the other one's called the Brent Index, and the Brent is more of the big super tankers that come from the Middle East. But the two prices kind of track side by side. They are sort of tracked together. And again, your gas station, what it's charging you now is enough money so that when gas gets delivered to them out in the future, they can put gas back in the ground. So in other words, if it's going to go up, they better charge you now. They're not going to have the money to fill the gas station back up. So we actually pay at the pumps kind of a futures price, not even today's, whatever the barrel is today. It's what they've bought from their refiners out in the future. Does that make sense? And so today it started coming way down though. And what we want to do is see Brent. We want to see the WTI get down below 70. It's come down to $88. It had gotten up over 100 or close to 100. So it's heading in the right direction. That'll get filtered through the system, and we'll start to see gas prices coming down after the barrel price stays down. And we're heading back in the right direction is the bottom line.
All right. Greatly appreciate it. And that guy's a better actor than he is a singer.
Oh, Lord, yeah. And he's not that great an actor. So good job, Joe. Yeah, I know that gets a little complex. I try to simplify it as much as I can when we talk about oil prices. We're actually paying a futures price on a guess by the oil market of what the future is going to be so they can, and as crazy as the system sounds, it actually, because it's a capitalistic bidding system, it guarantees there's going to be supply. If there wasn't money and contracts for bids, they wouldn't have the money to go get it out of the ground. So in other words, they have to sell, the oil companies have to say, all right, in 6 months, we'll sell it to you at this price per barrel. And that gives them the investment they need to keep their companies going to get it out of the ground, get it to the refinery, and deliver it based on those terms to the gas station, which is keeping their pumps full so we can just swing in there and get some anytime we want. As chaotic as it seems to us when there's trouble, it actually assures that we always have supply. We haven't had shortages since the 70s. Gas stations tend to always have gas. And a hell of a lot of stuff has to go down for them to always have gas. And it's this system, this very complex, sometimes maybe unfair to us system. Would I build a wall around our oil supply and just us depend on us? Yeah, but it depends on who the president is. When Barack Obama or Joe Biden were president, you wouldn't want to do that. We wouldn't have gas. They crushed our energy infrastructure. They wouldn't let refineries come on. They were shutting down pipelines, shutting off offshore. We wouldn't have had any production. We had to go buy it from the world at those world prices and get it in here, or you are walking. And your bread doesn't make it to the grocery store. It's a system that works for us when we've got a loser in the office that hates what feeds us, which is having ready gas and diesel and fuel in our country all the time. All right, who's this on line 1, AJ? Is it Mike? Is that supposed to be Mike in Pelham? Okay, Mike, what's up, buddy?
Hey, Leland, I don't know if you've talked about contacting the two senators in North Carolina and Alaska, but their email system really is easy to do. They're the two holdouts, Tillis and Murkowski.
Yep.
Some of the Senate websites won't let you, if you're not in the state, send an email, but they will. and it's just senate.gov, and you go to Tillis and Murkowski and hit contact, and it's real easy to send an email. Now, I don't know that does any good, but I do think they need to hear from grassroots Republicans.
I think Tillis is on his way out, and Murkowski got elected with voter fraud in their ranked choice system. So she actually lost the Republican nomination at one point and had to run a write-in campaign to get back in office. And so she hates any kind of election reform, and she's been on the floor arguing against it as a Republican. The only thing that's going to help Alaska is getting rid of that woman, and it's too late now. I don't think I like y'all being able to exercise your voice on that, but they don't give a damn if you're not from Alaska. And she just doesn't care about the politics of it at all. She's a very selfish woman.
Well, Tillis is not running for re-election. I don't know why he hates Trump, but
he's a rhino that's getting run
out. Some people
too.
say it makes a difference if you send an email and let them know what we think, and so they do accept them from Alabama.
Well, that's a good tip, Mike. I appreciate it, buddy. Look, you gotta stay on them, and I hate to make it sound like it's futile, but you got some hard-headed people that have bridges to burn. They're looking out for the establishment. McConnell's another one. He's on his way out, and he's too old to be in the Senate, and he's dysfunctional. They're wheeling him around and telling him what to do. He's our Joe Biden this year. Anyway. All right, I'll get to Rick in a minute. We got it. Man, I'm pushing the break too far. We got to get to the break. Let me talk to y'all about storm restoration. We've had a little spate of trouble-free weather for a few days, and we need that. We are still in the spring storm season. Sometimes you just need a replacement or somebody to look at your roof just based on what happened months ago. And you've got a window to file your claims if you had hail damage from a documented storm from the past or wind damage or something like that. The man that knows how to do that for you is my buddy at Storm Restoration, of course, Greg Nelson, and he's been doing this for 30 years. He'll get up there and give you an assessment and tell you about what's required. If he's got his data on when the systems came through, and if he can document that for you, got a better chance of getting a claim. Now, the best thing to do is right after a storm, or as soon as you can, as soon as you can get him over, have him document it sooner and then get you into that process so you make good, sound decisions. But if you got damage, and you need to get it fixed, and Greg can help you with all that. Even just a general replacement. Sometimes roofs are just going to age out. They have a life, and then you got to put a new one on. If it's time, let him help with that too. He's got finance companies that work with his business to get up there and make sure you're covered on that if it's a big out-of-pocket expense, and you can get that taken care of. You don't want a leaky roof. Y'all, at Storm Restoration Roofing, this is a guy who, again, almost 30 years in the business. His whole family's working with him. He's local. He's one of us. He's not going anywhere. He's going to be here in the long haul, and he knows this stuff. You need a real expert on your roof. And it's Greg. He's even got our logo on his truck now. He sent me a picture. I thought it was cool. He put Leland Live logo on his truck. 205-542-3531, 205-542-3531, Storm Restoration Roofing. Little Charlie Crockett this afternoon. Y'all get on back in here, 427. All American Metals next up here on the show. Y'all know how much I'm going to tell you about my pole barn. I got to relate. I love this facility. It really is. It's multi-use. We're planning another big old birthday bash in here. I work out of here. I got my things in here. I do my hobbies in here. Take care of business with my barn. It's been a great addition to the property. If you got room for one, I highly encourage it. What I don't encourage is you trying to piecemeal it like I did and do it the way I did it. Do it with All American Metals. They're just the best at and seamless and completely turnkey operation to produce that building for you. Now, the biggest part of their business is commercial stuff. I've only got a residential building, but sometimes in the commercial applications, if you want a big warehouse, expand your warehouse, retail build outs, even mini storage packages, they can put those together. They control the whole thing. They'll do the design work. When you're ready to go, they'll produce all the materials. They produce the framing and the sheet metal and everything that goes in the package down to the bolts and screws. So when it shows up on the trucks, their trucks, they even do their own deliveries. So they're in control of getting that building delivered. They can even line you up with a contractor to make sure you get it out of the ground safely and smartly. If you don't have that worked out, it's easier if you do it the easy way. And here's my favorite part. Their prices are better than their big corporate competitors. Their turnaround is faster and their experience is deeper. They've been around since the 60s. 2 generations of steel men right here from Birmingham that are going to take care of you. Also, great patriots and our neighbors at All American Metals, aa-metal.com. If you want to look at some of the buildings or get them on the phone and start talking about your project, aa-metal.com. All right, let's do the bottom of the hour break. We'll come back and try to get some more phone calls. I'll throw some more headlines at you as the week gets started. 545-9950 if you want to get on the radio. That's our number. Leland Live, Talk 99.5. Back here in just a minute. All right, y'all get back in here, Leland Live, Talk 99.5. Mandu bringing you the show this hour. Man, I do appreciate what Mandu's been able to do for people who were stuck. You ever been stuck? I get that way sometimes too. You're trying your best. As you get older, your metabolism slows. Sometimes it's aches and pains and mobility and injury, and it just keeps you can't work out like you used to. Mandu's different. It's electronic muscle stimulation. It gives you the capability of going there to their facility. You put on their electric suit. It's kind of weird. It's going to feel weird the first time you do it. I'm going to be real. Even when they plug you up and start you on your routine, you tingle a little bit and your muscles start doing stuff they just start moving and flexing, and you're going, what's happening to me? But then when you're done, it's 15 minutes. You go, wow, I feel good. And for a couple of days, you're going to feel that good kind of sore all over, just where you've worked out. And it's hard to get that in the gym some days. It could be, there's another category of people on the other end. You go to the gym every day and you just can't get enough workout in and get enough intensity in the time you have because you're kind of peaking out or plateauing. Mandu could be the difference for you too on the complete gym rats, people on the other end of the spectrum. Plus, this ain't a gym. This is more of a studio feel. You get your own private dressing quarters. They provide all the gear. You can walk in anything. You can have a suit on, or you can have your overalls on and just go in, and they provide the whole get up. I like to do it barefooted. I just feel like I can balance better. You get a personal trainer. They track your health. Paul's a great guy over in Homewood, and they've added some locations here in our listening area. Well, in Tuscaloosa on University now, y'all have a studio there. They have one in Huntsville as well, so they're growing. So reach out to them. The website's the same for all. Pick your town, MANDUU. Got to put those 2 U's on there. And check out Mandu. See if it's right for you. They'll let you try it for free and see what you think. You don't even have to decide while you're there. Give it some time. I think you'll agree. It's very different. It's very effective. Mandu.com, Mandu.com. Okay. Before I get to these calls, I promise calls. I just saw this story come across. Apparently Yellowhammer News had it. There's a state representative named Ernie Yarborough, and I don't know the guy, young guy. He's got young kids, but apparently his 6-year-old shot his 13-year-old at home this weekend with an AR. So the story's just now coming out. This is up in Lawrence County. And apparently the kid somehow got a hold of an AR 5.56. It's a rifle, big long gun. And they say accidentally fired it, and it struck the 13-year-old in the back of the shoulder. And the kid's going to be okay. They had to rush him down here to Children's. I think they're going to be able to patch him up. It's a bad situation. If you're in politics, I mean, now he's got to come out and make a public statement. But any family whatsoever, I think it behooves us. I'm a zero tolerance guy on people that leave their guns unprotected, especially around kids, that you don't lock them up. I know kids get into stuff. Lord knows I've raised them. Watching grandkids come along, a whole new groups of kids come along. Kids get into stuff, but it's your job as a parent to do what you can, especially with a handgun or a rifle or anything like that. It's got to be locked up and under your supervision 100% of the time. 100% of the time at hunting camps. If you're target shooting, it's just, I'm going to be a little hard on this till I find out more details. There's no excuse for a kid getting their hand on a 5.56 AR, especially a 6-year-old. Good Lord. Anyway, that story coming across tonight. Anything else new that happens in the news, we will have it for you. Let's go to Elton on line 2. What's up, Elton?
Hey, how's it going, dude?
Hey, man.
Well, I hate to follow that story.
Yeah, I know. Just keep going, man. Whatever. Just keep going.
By the way, before I get into my question, you're a pretty cool cat, so much respect
thank
to you. But you probably know more about this. These countries that have like nuclear weapons,
right?
Is there a government body that goes and inspects like what the capacity that they have and whether or not they're like building more? You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's I think it's called the International Atomic Energy Agency. That we just call them the IAEA. They are sort of the international body that can do. When you negotiate nuclear treaties, they'll go and check each other's stockpiles. So we have treaties, for example, with the Russians. They still have some vestiges of the Soviets missile program. And we denuclearized a lot of the older ones, the older platforms. So countries like Pakistan and India force inspections on each other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I was about to talk about, because I heard that India and Pakistan, they were like threatening to start shooting nukes at each other, and I was like, "Hey, is anybody checking on these?"
Yeah. Well, you know, they did. They were in a shooting war with each other for about, I think, 3 or 4 days.
Oh yeah.
Usually it's over the Kashmir region and some other disputed. I mean, some of their disputes go back well before we were ever even thought about as a country, and it's hard for us to wrap our hands around the politics of it. But Trump, you know, his team interceded and got them to calm down, because these are two. They're not superpowers, but they're two nuclear nations. The good thing is, as crazy as Pakistan is, they are more modern than like an Iran. And they developed a nuke as a deterrent, really, with the Indians, who developed a nuke to have a standoff with the Pakistanis. And they've always been able to keep that in check. I don't think they're countries like North Korea with a maniac dictator and those terrorists that ran Iran. They're a threat, though. They want to use it. They're not building it to just leverage the world. They're building it to dominate and to assault people with it. And so countries are different. Countries are not equal.
Yeah.
Countries are not the same. I don't even buy that. That's why the UN's dysfunctional. Some countries are backward, cave dwelling, sandal wearing, backward countries that can't even feed themselves. And some countries have saved human civilization with our technology. So whatever.
Do you think some of these countries lie? Like whenever I have people come up in there and they're like, "Oh no, this is all we got." But
oh yeah, they do. They do. Yeah, they do. I mean, Iran did. Iran just lied to the world about their ICBM capability, huh?
Or probably you can just lie and probably slip in like a couple of bills, that's all you see. That's all you see.
Here, my friend, have some dinares. Here's some couscous. Do not look over here in this building. Yeah, of course they. It's corrupt as hell.
Yeah. By the way, I'm going to end on this.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember me calling in. Y'all had an episode where y'all were talking about aliens, and I called in and told you that I saw an alien. AJ wasn't there.
I do
think
remember
he was on
that.
vacation.
I remember your story. Yeah.
Dude, I did an investigation with I did an interview with an investigator, and because they heard me, and there was a caller right after me that said, "Hey, he needs to call into, I think it's called MAPS."
Yeah.
And I did an investigate. Well,
so somebody called you to investigate. They called to probe you about your probe.
No, what I did was the caller recommended me, or he said, he probably needs to call in if he really did have that experience, and you have to fill out like the form and stuff like that. And hey, they legit, dude. Hey, they legit, man. Hey, they serious about this alien stuff. They
Look,
don't
man,
play around.
Our own government just registered. They just registered aliens.gov the other day, and nobody knows why. Suddenly the federal government did that.
I know.
So you may be on there.
Yeah, I'll be famous. Woohoo!
Hell yeah.
But anyway, all right. Well, you and AJ, y'all have a good evening, dude. And
thank you.
Have a blessed day, man.
Appreciate it, brother. All right. So I told you I'll call about whatever. Bring it, man. AJ, back to the Alan Richson beatdown. I keep going back and forth on it. Now that I look at the neighbors admitting he's the one that ran out in the street and confronted him like that, I'm just thinking, maybe it's my old school values, but that's an ass whooping.
Yeah, look.
Even though I believe this actor is a butthole for running his bike up and down the road making noise, I don't like that. But if you go and confront somebody like that, you're going to get your butt whooped.
Yeah, but I mean, okay. Like, I get that. A lot of people do that in my neighborhood. Not going to say a lot of people, but there are some, especially like younger folks, they get in there and they rev their engine and, or they got, the suburban kids coming out there with the loud bass and the music and all that stuff. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Now, it's not like it was at 10 o'clock at night or midnight. It was like, looking at the video, it looks like
it was middle of the day.
Middle of the day.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, come on, man. Just you know what? I know what it was. His wife was out there. And his wife was like, "Oh, you know that neighbor over there?
You need to go say something."
Yeah. No. She talks about that neighbor, he just looks so handsome. And all this other stuff. And he's like, "Oh, okay. All right."
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, she's British, though. She probably told me, she goes, "There's something afoot with this.
Right.
You need to go and tell him what's what." And he's just, I think indeed I will.
And he thought he
And
was
then
going
he
to
got
take
his
a
ass
glove and like smack him in his face and say, "I
Mhm.
challenge you to a duel."
No,
And
he
then-
didn't even do. He just got his ass.
Yeah. Well, he didn't get a chance to like take his glove off because once he pushed him, he was like, "Hey, nothing but space and opportunity here."
Mhm.
And then he took the opportunity to lay down the smackdown on his British tail. But then you get on TV, right, or whatever report, and then you admit that you got your butt.
Yeah, I
whooped.
know it. I know. That was the part that blew my mind.
I would have been like, "Look,
Really?
you see my face, you
Yeah.
should see his."
Yeah, he better have a better cover story.
I would have made
so-
something up.
Then he beat me about the head and whooped my
Man,
butt.
look, if you see my face, you should look at his ankles because I was biting the heck out of it,
It's because I did talk quite fiercely about his mother, perhaps. I
I said his mother was rubbish.
His mother has a wooden leg with a kickstand. And then he beat me about the head, and I'm going to sue, which is all this is about. He's going to wind up suing this guy.
Yeah,
And-
but
and-
is he going to really be able to sue if he put his hand on him first?
Oh, you can sue a potato. I mean, you can sue anybody, and Ritson or whatever his name is will pay him to go away. And some cheap ass trial lawyer will take the case. He'll pay him to go away because he's trying to get the Batman role. He's not going to get that with a lawsuit hanging over his head.
No,
You
he
know how
probably
that
get
is.
it now. I'm Batman. I'm Bruce Wayne. I can pay everything.
Don't you think he's too big and muscular to play Batman? Batman's supposed to be like a fake muscle guy, right? He's got a fake suit. This guy didn't even need a suit.
No, he doesn't need a suit, but I would be kind of intrigued to see how he is as Batman because Batman got to be limber. He's got to be able. I mean, with CGI, he can make him do anything. But
True.
It's gonna be interesting to see, how he's gonna look like as Batman. It's definitely gonna be interesting. But I don't think this is gonna hurt his career. I think it's more or less funny than it is. Like I can understand if he did something or he said some derogatory stuff about people or culture and all that stuff. But when the guy gets on TV and says, "Yes, I admit I pushed him first," then it's
that's
like,
it. That's it.
well, you kind of deserve that.
You started some, then there was some. I mean, that's all it is.
In America, it says right after it says the First Amendment says 1.2 says you put your hands on me, I get the right to beat your
in the street too, no less.
in the street,
the
and
street.
nobody helped. Nobody was like. Everybody, because he must be that neighbor. He has to be that neighbor. Everybody's like, "Oh gosh, here's this British guy. He's over here want to kind of dictate how we do around here." And it's like it's 2:00 in the afternoon, bro. Like, chill out.
Dude, I just had a flashback. My dad did this exact same thing when we were kids. I just remembered this. We had a go-kart and we were driving the neighbor crazy, doing laps around the backyard. And he kept coming over and he came over and confronted one of us. My dad came out there and he called the sheriff. Sheriff was a friend of his. Sheriff came over. They were trying to work it out. And I remember my dad looked at the sheriff and said, "What is the fine if I were to just whoop his ass right now?" It's probably about $500. My dad, he went and got $500 out of the house and said, "Here you go. I'm going to go ahead and prepay." That guy turned like 5 shades of white. He did not have any more trouble with the go-kart after that. Guy went home pale as a ghost. My dad was a huge dude. All of a sudden I just had that flashback. It was like my dad was a butthole just like that.
Well, but no. Your dad wasn't a butthole. Your dad was protecting you and your friends because he came on your property.
Well, he did come across the property line, and that was
It's
it.
not like
That's
y'all
what-
were in his yard, messing up his yard, which then, yes. But he comes all the way to your property.
In fairness, there was a dust cloud. I'm going to go ahead and tell you.
Yeah.
Rednecks. What are we going to do? That's how I grew up.
Yeah.
Crocker Moving Services. If your neighbor's getting on your nerves and it's time to just move, whether they're beating your ass or riding dirt bikes in the street, and you got to go, get Crocker. Crocker will help all y'all out. Look, Eric runs a great company. He himself served in the Marine Corps and still holds those values. And that's just be honorable, do things right. That's who you want moving your stuff. He leads his team like that too. He's got these strong young guys that work for him. And they respect Eric. So he says, "Let's get this done. Let's do it right. Let's do it quickly." They do that. He comes on the trucks with them sometimes, but it's a big company and they can move you across the country, or they can come just get that one big thing for you. Cause sometimes we just have those in our lives. It is CrockerMovingServices.com, CrockerMovingServices.com. All right, man, we're about to be, we got a little cool front. That breeze you feel this afternoon is a cool front coming in. It's going to cool off. We may not even need our ACs the next several days. In fact, we may have a little light frost warning for Saturday morning. We'll keep up with that this week and let you know about it if that develops. But in the meantime, let's get those air conditioners checked. I'm always here to remind you to do that. And it's a twice a year thing. We should do it in the fall before we start using those furnaces. And that one to me that's a safety one. But when it comes to the spring one, you just want that thing running efficiently. That heat and that humidity, it just does battle with your AC system all summer. And when it gets clogged up and dirty, or it's not running smoothly, or something's not charged right, or connections loose, things happen over time. It's not going to run right. Your power bills go up. You're not comfortable. Nobody's happy. Come on, man. Get Douglas over there and let them become your heating and air company. Once you start doing your regular service work with them, you're on speed dial. They know where you live. You're on their customer list. If you have an emergency, they've got a 24-hour emergency number, and that can happen. If it's time to do a replacement, and I say this a lot too, especially this time of year when everything is so nice outside, it's a good time of year to get that work done. It's tough when it's the thick of summer, man. I mean, dead in the middle of summer, and you got this humidity and this heat, and that's when it's going to blow your system up. Go ahead and get ahead of that and invest now while you've got financing and extended warranties and a controlled setting. Let them come over and replace or add on. I'm hoping with a project we've got on the tee for sometime this year, they'll be adding on a system. I need a little more capacity, and I'm going to get them to do the same thing for me. They'll do it right. Douglas has been around forever. They've taken care of me for 17 years. CallDouglas.com, C-A-L-L, CallDouglas.com. Man, let me look down my list here and see what else we can get into before we get to the top of the hour news. I haven't talked much about this young girl. Fox is giving a lot of attention to this story today. This kid's name was Sheridan. She was a Loyola student, 18 years old, out walking on the lakeshore near her campus. It's the same place where Pritzker went out when Trump started doing the surge into these cities to help with crime and did this whole walk around like, we don't have any crime problem here. We don't have any illegals here. And boom, this girl gets killed by an illegal immigrant that had already been arrested twice in this country, let out of jail twice in this country, not to mention let in the country. He was never deported. This was all under the Biden era policies. And so once again, we've got a young lady in the prime of her life out with friends doing nothing at all. She got approached by a masked gunman who just shot her. And I don't know that we have any details about why she was hit, if she was targeted or not. One of these left-wingers in the city of Chicago, I think one of the aldermen there, tried to explain it away by saying, well, she was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. You know, that those things happen sometimes. You just startle somebody with a gun, you might get shot. And they will not admit that their failed policy, all the way from attacking policing. You still got this idiot mayor saying we got to have a holistic approach to crime. That doesn't work. We all know that. It's a mistake. Even de Blasio was on an interview last week talking about how the defund the police movement was one of the dumber things his party ever embraced. In the history of mankind, the only thing that works is punishing criminals and removing them from the rest of us. That, part of incarceration is punishment. Part of it is rehabilitation. The best hope is people learn their lesson. There's some programs to help people get on track and they can get out and become productive folks in society again. A lot of churches, the church I go to works hard in prison ministry. But the third leg of that stool for incarceration is removing the danger from society. And we never talk about that. During the whole defund movement and the open border movement, which were simultaneously had this country under attack, we didn't talk about that part. That is one of the bigger parts. That protects us. That's for the victims of these criminals, is that we remove them from people that want to get along and that want to live civilly. And so the Democrats in their soft on policing approach had just dropped all of these things, making it easier not to be punished. No cash bail. Even back in the 90s, I had a bunch of cop buddies and I was on the cop beat as a reporter. And I remember one police officer one day talking about how pissed off he was that he'd go out and make cases and work hard on cases and make the collar, get the guy arrested, take him down to the jail. And before he could get the paperwork completed, this guy had bonded out. I mean, several occasions where the guy was back out there with a threat to other people. And now this girl is dead, and you can't explain that away. This is a direct result of terrible, stupid, backward policies that we got lectured about. The rest of us, that straight common sense people, that just go, no, lock the bad guy up. Don't let him in the country. And if they get in the country and commit a crime, kick them out of the country. It's pretty simple stuff. It's not mean. It's fair to us who live here. And this girl's dead, and her family's not having it, by the way. They're not allowing the city officials in that city to explain it away. It really is a terrible story. I wish I had that soundbite pulled up, but there it is. Had to get that in there before we got completely done today. Y'all, Allen and Company, there they are as we approach spring, and here comes Mother's Day and Easter and graduation season and all these reasons to give gifts. And if you want to commemorate that beautiful graduate in your life with something that she or he, I guess, will cherish forever, they do laser etching. They can design anything you want there to commemorate things for mom, or some people even want to do Easter gifts like this. Let them help. Once you get to know the Thompsons, you'll be like me. You'll just love them. They're sweet people. Allen's a total master jeweler. Their price is competitive with everybody in town. And you get that custom touch, that custom work for everything, the new stuff and the cleanings and repairs and everything that they do for you at Allen. Allen and Company in Vestavia on the main drag on 31.